Everyone, I'm Xuyuan. I know I haven't updated my channel for a really long time, but today, since the winter break has arrived, so I will update my channel now. So here's a video on the program on double-slit interference and diffraction grating. I decided to write a program on these two concepts because I have learned them in my physics class, and I choose them because they both need a little bit complicated equations. So if the equation is a little bit complicated, like there's 3 or 4 variables, then I would do a program on it. But if the equation is very simple, then I think there's no need to do a program on it. So let's get started. If you are learning this in physics, you will find it very helpful. So first, we will see the program on double-slit interference. So, okay, before I explain all the codes, I have to tell you I'm not going to simulate this on my calculator in this video because it will be really hard to do that. But I have written very clear codes below so you can follow it. So first, as always, we will go to Menu, Program, New. So after you have opened your calculator, you can click Menu and then you can click 9, which is for the function and the program. And after you can click one program editor and then just click New. And after you click New, you are going to create a name for your program. For the name, you have to follow the rules that's set on the calculator, which is no space, no underscore, and no special characters or anything. So I will just call it double slit for now. And then after you have entered the name and click OK, you will see a blank page of code, and there will be only define double slit and program PRGM and end program, which will be around here. Yes, I have put dividers for the content of program so you can see it clearly. And then the first one we're going to do is to request the wavelength lambda, and for request you can find it by menu I/O, and you can find request there. So the request is basically they will give you a prompt after you are running the program, and then for the enter the wavelength, this is in the text box that you can find it above the multiply sign, and then for the lambda sign you can find it in the library, which is a book. You can see a book button on your calculator and you can find lambda there. And then this whole thing is just a text, and then I've set this variable as a, so it is easier for us to code. But for the text, I have put the actual name of the variable so I can see what I'm inputting there. So these are the 4 variables that we need for the double slit interference. It is the wavelength, distance between the screen and the slit, which is the big D, and then the slit separation, and then the separation of fringes. So first I will tell you the original double slit interference formula is S equal to lambda capital D over small d. So in the following, I have rearranged the equation for calculating the variables that are popular in the exam. So for the other variables, because they are not popular in the exam, so I will not write code for them. So the first one we're going to calculate is the S, which is here I set it as D. Yeah, it's a bit confusing, but you need to know the D is the S. This is very popular because the original double slit interference formula is for the separation of fringes is written in this form. So I put an if statement. So if d equals to 0, which is you are going to calculate the d, so you are going to input d equals to 0. But here you can put anything. You don't have to say d equals to 0 as long as this is a condition. But for me, I'll just put d equals to 0 because it is more easier. So after I put if d equals to 0, I will input this display the separation of fringes S is equal to A times B over C. This is basically means lambda big D over small d. But here I use ABC because in the calculator, the actual variable I have is A, B, and C. Although but we can see in the real formula, it is lambda big D over small d. So here you can find the separation of fringes. So I will tell you if you run this program now, and you can put d equals to 0, and you can input all other variables such as the wavelength, the big D, and the small d, which they will give you in the question, and then you can find the S by just click enter. So after another popular variable that the exam asks us to find is the wavelength. So also I did the same thing if A equals to 0, which is the wavelength is equals to 0 if because I need to find the wavelength. And then here I rearranged the equation so I can find the wavelength. So here and the program. So here from this divider to here, this divider, this is all the program I have entered. This is very short, so you can enter it very quickly and see the result. It doesn't take you a long time to do it. And then remember to do store and check syntax, which is Control plus B, or you can go to menu and check syntax and store, and check syntax and store. And then you can go open a new calculator page and press bar, which is the button right above the number 9, and you can find the name of your program, and after you can just run it. You don't need to enter anything, you can just have the name of the program there and just press enter. And then as I said before, you can enter the value that's given in the question, and the value you want to find will be entered in 0, enter as 0, and then you can just click enter and the calculator will report the value you want to find. So this is all for the double slit interference. I will do another video on diffraction grating because otherwise it will be too long. I will post this document under my channel in the description, so you can find this document and read through it. I hope you find it helpful. I know my explanation might not be that clear, so I strongly recommend you to read through the document. But anyways, if you have entered them correctly, then you can find the correct answer. And for the ABCDs, you don't have to name the same variable as I named them. You can name them any way you want. And even for the text, you can enter any text you want as long as you can understand them. So here's the end of video. I hope to catch you guys next time and see ya.